Hello YouTube, welcome on this fine day, and this is my historic Brawl crafting guide for Amonkhet. So, we have received Amonkhet leaks thanks to Reddit, where the whole set has pretty much been leaked, which allows me to do this video now. And specifically Amonkhet Remastered, because we already had Amonkhet, right? And Amonkhet Remastered consists of basically three sections. Hour of Devastation, Amonkhet, and then special invocation cards that are also being added to the game. And a few of them are going to be quite nice, and expect some of them in this list. Basically, these are my top 10 cards to craft from this Amonkhet Remastered set, if you want to consider playing Historic Brawl. I will only include rares and mythic because I consider commons and uncommons to be very easy to craft overall. And this list is a mix of high power, like how high the power of the card itself is, and how important the card is to a certain archetype. Basically, when Jumpstart came out, I recommended 3 goblins in the same spot because, yeah, if you want to make goblins, these have to be in the deck, basically, right? Anyways, without further ado, let's go straight into the list with number 10, Samut, Voigt of Descent. So, first and foremost, I love this card. I think it's an amazing card. It's just fun, at least for me. It's a Naya commander, actually. If you look at it, has the color identity of white as well, due to the activated cost. And the thing with this card is you can do a lot of shenanigans with Samut, especially with upcoming cards like Combat Celebrant. And yeah, just untapping extra combat steps and all these shenanigans are going to be very fun. And I'm putting this as a conservative number 10 because this is mainly used as a commander. And this enables decks we haven't seen yet, so I am not too sure how good these decks will be, but for sure they will be fun. Anyways, number 9, Vizier of the Menagerie, a green card advantage engine coming right at you. We are getting at the point where we can actually pick and choose our card advantage engines in green, as long as we play creatures, of course, right? And this is one of the better ones, mainly because this is also a creature, and this is relevant. If you tutor for a creature, you can get this as an advantage engine, and it obviously pairs really well with Oracle of Moldiah. And yeah, this is overall, this feels like a love child of Oracle of Moldiah and the Vivian, the 5-mana Vivian, because it has basically the passive of the 5-mana Vivian. And then it's stapled onto a creature, so that is really relevant again. Anyway, coming in at number 8, we have Anointed Procession, and this is one of probably the card I was talking about earlier. If you want to make a token deck and are in white, you have to play this card. It's played pretty much in every single token decks in EDH. It is just amazing because double the token, double the fun, basically, right? It's pretty fun. And yeah, if you like tokens itself, I don't see an insanely good spot for a competitive meta in Historic Brawl. But two things about that. First thing, I don't think the average player gives a shit about the competitive meta. And second of all, if you like token decks, you will never pretty much regret crafting this card, because doubling the amount of tokens is just an amazing effect. At number 7, we have the only double spot in this list with Sweltering Suns and Anger of the Gods, 2 cards that basically do the same. Anger of the Gods, that is the first card that is not actually from the original Amonkhet set. And yeah. This is added as an invocation, I believe, because there are some cards that are included by elements, but I think it was an invocation. And Sweltering Suns also deals 3 damage to each creature. This is really good in decks that need these kinds of effects. Basically anything that's not white, or like Grixis Control can use this, because Grixis Control wants wipes that come down early. and you can replace some of the other 3 mana wipes with this because they're usually better. I think Sweltering Suns overall is the better card for Historic Brawl because we are playing best of 1 and sometimes it's a dead card, so cycling is really nice. And yeah, overall 3 mana red sweeper, one of the best ever, printed in red at 3 mana basically. And yeah, can't go wrong with these two. Number 6, we're getting into the aggro kind of things, real aggro, with Hazoret Deferent. And while this is only good in dedicated aggro decks, I would argue, this can make some really resilient games. Like, this gives mono red aggro a real game against some of the more annoying commanders for mono red, right? Like, Hazoret Deferent doesn't have the oomph that Torbran provides on turn 4, because realistically for mono red, these two are your commanders, right? It doesn't give the instant oomph. Well, it comes in with 5 power indestructible haste, right? But Torbran can just kill people on the spot. But Hazoret Deferent gives you this staying power, and it's like so annoying to deal with. And if you dedicate your deck around emptying your hand as well, this is going to be amazing, right? Like cards like the Experimental Frenzy, exactly, are really amazing with this because you can use 3 mana each turn to discard the card you draw and then play from the top of the deck, and it's just lovely, right? It's just amazing. And yeah, another great option for mono red aggro in general, right? Coming in at number 5 with Ronas the Indomitable. And Ronas is really good because it's 3 mana and 5 power, and if you know anything about Sylvana decks, this is immediately something that comes to mind. But this is also so amazing for Ghalta decks, which are one of the best decks in the format for aggro, right? You just slap Ghalta on turn 3 to 4, go face and win. And yeah, Ronas is just, yeah, staying power basically again. And another great thing about this card is that it is also good, like it's good in multiple decks as opposed to Hazoret, and that's the reason why I have it higher up on the list, because again, Sylvana, maybe a deck around that itself, right? And it is active a bit more easier in the in decks that splash this card basically, because like you can't really play Hazoret and Gorul aggro because you don't really want to be empty-handed all the time. But yeah, you can, like, it is more flexible to activate Ronas basically. And also another thing, if you go infinite mana with Kogla and Hyrex Tower Scout in Sylvana, this is also an infinite mana sink to kill the opponent instantly. Pretty great. Next up on the list, number 4. And from this point on, it's basically only invocations. Sorry, Amonkhet, but the invocations are really, really good. Collected Company. Also, the art coming up right now, and also a few of the other artworks in the list are not up to date because, as I said, it's leaked. So I'm pulling the images off of Scryfall, how they look right now. Collected Company. Showing up with the Cons of Takira, but we have already seen the new art. Maybe I'll put that one up. This card is an amazing value engine in decks that utilize it correctly. It's really amazing in elves, for elf ball decks in general. But beyond that, just look at green aggro decks. Something like Ghalta can use this, and Ghalta already has a lot of 3-drops with really high power. See the previous Ronas the Indomitable. So you can, for 4 mana, put something like 10 power on board, which is unheard of, right? At instant speed as well. So it dodges sorcery speed ward wipes, right? It's amazing. Good card. It didn't see modern play for no reason for a long time. Don't know if it's still played there. And yeah, overall, great value. At number 3, Pact of Negation. And yep, there we have it. 0 mana counterspell. Can't use that on turn 1, unfortunately, unless you want to die instantly, but yep, 0 mana counterspell. a lot of people mistake this as a really insane control, like control card spell, but it is best in combo decks that want to win instantly and don't need to pay the upkeep cost because they instantly win, right? That's where this card really shines. But the other deck that is going to like this is 5 mana Teferi, because what you do with this card in 5 mana Teferi is you have 5 mana and then like you try to resolve Teferi and they try to counter it, then you Pact of Negation it, and then it resolves, and then they do untap 2, they try to remove it at sorcery speed, you have a negate up because you untap 2 mana, you counter again, then you go to your turn, you have the 5 mana, you pay that so you don't lose the game, and then you have Teferi and can untap 2 mana again, so you're keeping a protection all like up all over the place, and it's just amazing, right? Or against black decks, they keep up mana, you drop Teferi, they try to kill the Teferi as soon as it hits the board with something like a Murderous Rider, you counter that with the 2 mana open, and then they have removal as well in their turn at sorcery speed, and then you can Pact of Negation that as well. So that's, I think it's going to be a really good tool in Teferi, but don't underestimate its power in combo decks. Maybe you want to play it in Kinnan if you feel risky, but I mean, Kinnan generates a ton of mana anyway, so I think this also slots right into Kinnan. But some weird end the turn tails and combo decks, like I will try something with Kaikar with end the turn shenanigans, and it's going to be amazing. At number 2, Wrath of God. Redundancy, that's all that I have to say. Also still the best board wipe we will see in a long time in white, because this is obviously better than Shadow Disguise, because this doesn't have a downside basically. And yeah, just redundancy. If you are in need of if you are in need of white board wipes, yeah, this will be your first pick basically, right? Teferi wants this, every single white control deck wants this. You will not regret crafting this card at all. And at number 1, we have Thoughtsis. Boring card for a few of you, and amazing to me. I just love this card, and you will never ever feel bad having this in a black deck. And 95% of black decks until the end of time of Historic Brawl will play this card, because this is simply the best 1 mana discard spell ever printed. Like, you just pick something, they discard it, clean, and just protects you really nicely. Proactive interaction, and it's, yeah, you can't really go wrong with this. You will never not play this in black decks, right? You will play this in 5-color black decks, you will play this in 3-color black decks. If you have black, you play this. It's easy, usually, right? And yeah, this is my number 1 pick. By far, actually. Like, there are so many amazing cards on this list, but if you just have 1 rare white card, craft this. If you are remotely close to black with any of your decks, craft this. It's going to be amazing. Anyways, this is it for my list. I hope you enjoyed it. There are a lot of good cards that are not on this list. I probably know that a lot of people will say, oh, but the Scarab God is not on there. I think Scarab God won't cut it in Historic Brawl, basically. But if there is any card that you are missing from this list, right? If there's anything you're saying, oh yeah, you should have included that, write me that in the comments, because I will read them. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. I will see you in the next video, and I'm out. See ya.